Hello and welcome to another episode of The Modern Nerd. I am Sir Slice,
I'm merchandise.
And I'm GJC.
and we are, as always, massive nerds. Now, before I give you the details on what we're going to be talking about, I want to give a good shout out to these people here, Smirch and GJC. Good thank you for
Hello.
doing this with me, and again on such short notice for this one. But also, I want to give anyone watching at home, checking out the YouTube here on GJC's Twitch, whichever it may be, thank you for watching. If you have not seen us before and you're catching us now, don't forget to give that like and subscribe button a little click, and you can catch future content from us, which hopefully will have a little bit more regularity to it. We've had a long break pretty much all the time, but that's just kind of how life goes sometimes. So, we're going to be talking about a few things today. One real big thing, actually, is we no longer have a Kang in the MCU. Jonathan Majors has been outed because he was found guilty of assault and I forgot what the other charge was. Nothing good. He was found guilty in his court. So before I go into who we want to replace them, we here at the Modern Nerd want to say that we stand with anyone who is a victim of abuse, whether it's in the family or otherwise. If you or a loved one has been a victim of domestic violence, go ahead and give a dial on that number down at the bottom of the screen. Someone will be there at all times for your help. We want to hope and make sure that you are okay and taken care of and stand by you here at the Modern Nerd. So go ahead again. That number's at the bottom of the screen, 800-799-7233. That is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. We are here with you. But now that we've had that somber note, we're going to talk about who we want to replace Jonathan Majors. So, who do we think? Two questions, and we'll answer both of these one way or another. Who would we want to replace Jonathan Majors as Kang if the MCU chooses to stick with Kang as their big bad for the next phase 5 and 6? Or any ideas on a pivot they could do in a storyline or a bigger baddie or something like that for the MCU? You know what? I'll start off with my vote. I had 3 really top contenders, but my vote goes to Sterling K. Brown if they stick with Kang. I really like him. He has been in some amazing stuff. The one that sticks out for me is because I watched it recently was his appearance on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's been on a bunch of other stuff, but like even that little scene, if anybody's never seen it, he's being interrogated for the entire episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he is trying to maintain his cool and not give away any of his plan of murder, which is kind of in line with like Kang. Like I think that could translate really well. Sterling K. Brown, I think, would be a great replacement for a Kang character specifically, because you don't need to have someone who's overly physical for this role. You don't need to have them be someone who they're going to have like this intense battle with, because most of what he has is like control and psychological warfare. And yes, he's got powers and he's super powerful, but like he's more of a commander, and you need someone who can hold that presence on the scene. So my one-off vote is Sterling K. Brown. And yeah, and any other suggestions from you fine gentlemen on either side of me? Dan?
So this is funny. So the news hit, and Tim asked us to come up with something. I scoured and I thought, and Marvel has snatched up pretty much every actor that I would pick, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give you my top 5 that I would have picked had they not already been cast as a Marvel role. Number 1 would have been Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah.
I think that was who I was thinking too, and I was like, no, he's already in. He's already in.
He would have been phenomenal. Would have been phenomenal. Mahershala Ali would have crushed it.
Yeah.
Would have crushed it. Idris Elba would have been very good. And then I was like digging deep, and I was like, who else we get? And then I was like, Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out could have been good.
Pretty is he versatile. In MCU?
Yeah, he's in Black Panther. And actually, Tim,
Oh shit, that's right.
Sterling K. Brown is also in Black Panther, so he's already been in a Marvel role.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Who did he play?
he plays the dad of
But that's you could get away with that.
I'm just saying,
You're not
there's
wrong. You're not
okay.
wrong.
And
Man.
Michael B. Jordan would have been another one. And actually, what I came here to say, when I finally realized I have an unusual pick, but because he's proven so talented in so many fields and he's proven his immense versatility as an actor, I was going to come here and say Donald Glover.
Yeah,
but he's already been in a.
He's
been in a Sony movie.
Okay, well, he's also in the Spider-Verse movie. So yeah. I don't know. Initially, you kind of he's not going to fill the big shoes that Jonathan Majors left. I more or less would agree if he's trying to be, but he wouldn't try to be Jonathan Majors. He'd try to be his own version, a much more more like conniving kind of like planning kind of Kang, and a less imposing physical threat kind of Kang.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd be phenomenal. That's just what I think.
Do you have a vote, George?
I think there's like Dan says, there's a lot of people that are already been cast by in smaller roles, like, you know, unfortunately, but you know, like, it's hard to say. I used to watch a British television show called Hustle. It has Adrian Lester in it. He's like Shakespearean actor. It's really funny. He's in Snatch too. Also, he's one of the guys in Snatch. He's hilarious.
He is hilarious.
That's who I wanted to I thought about, but I have more ideas as to
pivots.
As to pivots.
Okay, let me give you a couple here that I think people might enjoy real quick.
No, I was just gonna say something first though, like before, to preface the whole thing. Like,
oh please,
just to keep in mind, like, let's talk about the original, so then to understand what the difference would be, like where the pivot is. The original plan for this phase, we know, was we were going to have two more Avengers that were going to be apparently back to back, was the idea, meaning no movies in between like there was with Endgame and Infinity War. And the idea was one was going to be Kang and the other was going to be Secret Wars. Secret Wars was being developed by one director and one team. Kang was being developed by another director and another team, actually.
Really?
But now they have been changed where people have been fired and it's all the same team.
Good. That's how it should be.
That is where they are right now. And so that is where it is before the news with Jonathan Majors broke out. So now you have the floor.
I'm going to give just two quick shout outs to other actors who I don't know if you guys found, but John David Washington, Denzel's kid.
Sure. I thought about that really too. Good.
And then he was in like Tenet and like a few other movies. And then there's a gentleman named Lakeith Stanfield, who is a phenomenal actor. Yeah, and Lakeith Stanfield was in like what was it? Sorry to Bother You, and he was in another movie coming up. I forgot what the name is, but he's real good too. I think both of those guys could nail it. Random pivot though would have been not pivot, but like actor like Regina King could probably hold that throne as like a variant. I think she'd be fantastic. Viola Davis, or even, as I said in a previous episode, just change Renslayer a little bit and have her not be Kang, but take the time chair and his gear and now assume the role of Kang without being an actual variant, which I thought would be interesting. But anyway.
If they hadn't had that post-credit scene with the Council of Kangs and all of those Kangs in the arena, this would be a much more seamless transition. But
I don't know. I think it's just
whatever.
Like,
do you think how many people think about Don Cheadle and Terrence Howard really at this point?
Exactly. Like
years from now, people. 10 years from now,
Terrence Howard was in one movie. Jonathan Majors has been in 2 shows, a movie, and I don't know, other appearances perhaps. I'm not even sure.
Sure, he certainly had more screen time. I get it.
Yeah,
but
it's not the same thing in my opinion.
No, you're not wrong, but I do think that people will accept it and understand and
just do the hey, it's me, move on.
I'm here,
I'm here, and then that's it. Like, just throw that in, and we're good. Like, people are willing and wanting to move on, so I don't think they don't give a shit.
I don't think that's a good idea. This isn't that, but
but
with the idea of variance, you can do anything you want. You can just rewrite and just be like, whatever. I'm a variant.
Okay, and that's what I was going to talk about too. If we're going to dive into this, is that like, so there is something that is pretty well publicized and not well, but like the story goes is that like actors, when they do contracts with big major studios like this, like they're the people who like their agents actually get to read and like understand what the script is, and there's a large part of the contract that goes into what they learn from the script and the plan that they have for the movie, right? So because he had such a big contract across multiple movies and they understood the idea of a multiverse and all that was explained to him when he signed on, they wrote in his contract specifically that he's the only one who's allowed to play Kang. That's one of the things. Now, obviously, there are things that can break those kinds of contracts, like going to jail and not being available for filming, might be one of those things that's going to break your deal, so...
broke it. They've dropped him. So
they've already dropped him. No, but they can drop him. My point is they can drop him. But whether or not they're allowed to hire or cast another Kang is still kind of up in the air because... that's a legal issue between, and obviously the contract's not public. It's between them and him. Like, so we don't know, but we do know that there were things like written in there about stipulations. So you could see how like a lot of things have happened recently, story-wise, even with Loki, where they left themselves an out. As soon as this broke, we all knew they were starting to pivot to other possible ways of maybe not having to recast him, but like, do a swerve and like,
I think they should have
and change direction of the phase if this doesn't work out with him. They already started making exit doors for themselves.
So what do you think is the best pivot for them if they decide they can't
recast
Kang? What do you think? Where would you want to see this go, George?
I get what you said about Renslayer. That's like an interesting idea, is that like Renslayer decides to take on the Council of Kang instead, or does something real. Her and Miss Minutes do something really fucking just squished a bunch of Kangs into boxes like instantly at a council meeting and just like start running shit and be the next big bad against, Loki and whatever. That would solve a lot of issues for them. But honestly, I think they already kind of hinted at it. They're gonna, instead of making like Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, they're just gonna make Secret Wars Part 1 and Secret Wars Part 2. Like, they're just gonna make that story cover 2 films, And we all suspect who's gonna be the big bad in the Secret Wars, And wouldn't it be interesting if he is somewhat, like Kang needs to be dealt with. I'm sorry to say, this is gonna be like it's Loki's tricky. Like lot in life is that like however they deal with Kang is gonna be on how they is gonna be thrown to Loki season 3. He's not gonna be part of like phase 5 moving forward, if that's the case. Do you know what I'm saying? He'll be dealt with easily in Loki season 3 maybe, and
There's
then
no Loki season 3.
Well, he'll be dealt with one way or another through the Loki means, or they'll just never like. Who knows what they'll do for that? That's not, but instead they'll just pivot to whatever the big bad was going to be in Secret Wars, which from what it sounds like is going to be Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
How they deal with Kang, whether that's going to be through a Loki means or through another like write-off type of thing is, like I said, it probably Renslayer would be a really clean way to take care of that, wouldn't it? Like, just have her and Miss Minutes squish all the Lokis at a council meeting, like, in individual boxes, Like, I don't know what, like, is there a clean way to get rid of him?
I don't know about getting rid of him, but like just so you're saying you'd want to see Doom in that role as the next overarching
they
villain.
need to find a way to pivot hard into Secret Wars and make a Doctor Doom, like, and just forget about Kang and just say that Loki essentially forestalled Kang from coming, using the being God Loki, and it has forestalled like the multiverse war for the time being, but it's like
Sure.
he's forever like trapped in that scenario because there's no, like, he can't leave now, he's stuck there forever now.
Yeah.
That's his
Yeah.
like his eternal like
So, Dan, do you have any theories or anything you'd want to see more of in the MCU in the next 2 phases, rest of 5 and all of 6?
All I'm thinking about right now is how it really is amazing how well the stars aligned for, the first
Yeah.
few phases of Marvel, and how
it's special.
quickly it's all going to crap now in so many ways. These last couple of phases. I don't know. I don't. I've learned to not. I don't really have high hopes for anything. I don't know what they're gonna do. Especially after the writer strike, and no scheduled Marvel movies for 2024. Like at all right now.
They pushed Captain America back.
I think they pushed everything back.
They had to do reshoots.
It's only Deadpool that's coming out next year, and I think this
and Echo and like the TV shows are coming out still.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, 2025. Fuck.
Maybe Deadpool can save it all in like just big eraser and like
Possible.
Right? Like Deadpool. I wouldn't mind Deadpool taking care of Kang.
There's already so much on the shoulders of Deadpool. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
We'll see.
What up, Tab?
I don't know.
Everything that's been scheduled for 2024 seems to be a TV show or a Sony movie, and those don't count.
I have one more.
This would be a good time to actually reevaluate.
I have one more pivot.
Bring back things back to the kind of home here at home plate and be like, all right, what are we doing? Like, is this like not only have things not been working out, but now everything we're building toward is fucked up. And it's a great thing the multiverse exists because they're gonna have to lean on that super heavily to pivot to whatever.
I have one more pivot is and Dan talked about it, I think, when we first watched it, is actually why don't they just pivot and make the higher evolutionary a King variant too?
Yeah. We did talk about that.
We talked about Dan was the one who talked about that. Actually, I think he pointed that out when we first watched Galaxy.
I also think that actor would have made a great.
He would have been amazing. So why not? Like, I'm okay with that too. That he's just a Kang variant. Let's do it. Like, I don't like. There's so many. They left themselves a lot of outs. Actually, to be honest, like
I mean,
obviously it's not going to go smooth, but
yeah, it's going to take some serious restructuring if they want to change. Like the Doom. I think if they do Doom, that's the safest, easiest bet for them to write into all these stories because it's already been hinted at. You got the Fantastic Four movie, and Doom had a hand in, I think, Secret Wars 2 in the comic books, or the new Secret Wars that happened in like 2015 or something like that, which is my guess is what they're going to draw from the Secret Wars from 1984 was the Beyonder, who I would be crazy to see them do, who has had many retcons and many different like origins, but essentially is like an entity from a beyond universe in like humanoid form. So like, doing something like that is definitely possible. But for me, like and I don't know how possible it is, but the way we left Secret Invasion, they could pivot harder into like Skrulls and Kree and have that sort of kind of take over a really large portion, because I don't think it was done correctly or done justice in the Secret Invasion movie, and they did leave it open to have some form of an impact, whether or not, and if you want more on that, we talked about it in our review, so check that episode out. I think that would be an interesting one to kind of bide the time until they can, introduce Fantastic Four. But the problem is I've been going through this, I've been racking my brain, and I'm like, who's like another major Avengers level threat? Like someone that can have a presence for a few years and like a build up to these characters. And they've had a few of them in the movies already, one of which was done, super dirty, and was possibly killed off in Avengers 2
But
Age of
there's so
Ultron.
many.
Yeah, but like Age of Ultron, like Ultron should have been a bigger threat, a longer story arc,
He
a
was.
more encompassing story arc. I mean, he was really just like
But
one movie.
That's
And
because
so he
Joss Whedon, before he signed
Yeah.
on, said he wants to do Ultron, and they were like,
Yeah,
fine.
and that's
like that
fine,
was
but,
his
like,
only
he
stipulation.
should-
I get to do Ultron.
But Ultron should have been like, he goes away and comes back. He's not dead. There's another threat of Ultron. He's an ever looming presence in the Marvel universe. But the other ones that are like really larger than life, are all part of, that we haven't seen yet. A is Doctor Doom, and B is like all the X-Men villains. Like you could make Magneto a really interesting
thinking that.
character and have him like his Brotherhood of Mutants and like grab a bunch of other villains and stuff like that. Or you could have Apocalypse, who is another looming ancient figure and immortal, like that's that Dormammu who we've all already seen. Galactus, like there's a bunch, but like they've been tied up. There's bad tastes in our mouth when you say the word Galactus, when you say the word Apocalypse. Like so you can't, you got to do it right or give it more time.
Yeah, and
But
you guys
they're
know
put in a
about that,
situation where
right?
they might have to do something sooner than later.
I have
So
a question.
It's super
Would it-
interesting.
Quick question: Would it
Yeah.
hurt your delicate sensibilities if they said Doom was just a
Delicate.
fucking K variant, and then have him never show his mask because he got really badly burned by Johnny Storm, and then or some shit, and now like Kang just goes by Dr. Boom, or it turns out he's
Dr.
a Kang,
Doom.
and then you don't need
mean,
to
I
show
wouldn't-
you don't need to show his face ever again or some shit because he's behind the mask the whole time.
I don't like it. Like it's not delicate
No, that would be-
sensibilities,
That
but
would
like
That would be straight a retcon, but I mean
Doom is such
like they
a more interesting character than Kang to begin with. That there would be no more MCU going on. In my opinion, I'd be like, cool, good luck. We had a nice run, ladies and gentlemen. But
delicate
I'll see you
sensibilities.
later. So
Delicate sensibilities.
it's just I don't know.
You saw
There's a
that
lot-
you saw that it was announced that Anna Taylor-Joy is the one that's going to be playing the Silver Surfer, right?
What? I didn't
Yeah.
see that. Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yeah, that's everyone knew she was cast for Fantastic Four, and no one knew why. And now they found out it's because she's going to be the new Silver Surfer.
Really?
Okay.
Let me look this up.
That's
I mean, I'm
fascinating.
fine with gender bending.
I am too. I just feel like Silver Surfer is. I don't know if she's gonna be able to strut her acting skills as the Silver Surfer, but I guess we'll see.
It's
You guys saw the
rumored.
Furiosa.
It's
trailer,
not
right?
confirmed.
yeah.
You saw the
Furiosa.
Furiosa trailer, right?
Yeah, it
that was
looks
fucking.
It did. It looked good.
It looked good. I
If-
mean,
if you haven't seen it, you can go ahead on our Discord channel on the Modern Nerd, and there's a whole bunch of trailers for upcoming stuff. Talk about it. We want to hear your opinions. Yeah, I do see that there's a lot of news going around about her doing that. Nothing is confirmed.
yeah. Okay.
So I'm fine with that. I think she'd be a decent Sue Storm too. So
we'll see.
why not? Yeah, that's the whole again. With them doing movies that have already existed, Fantastic Four, X-Men, that kind of stuff. Like everyone's already got a picture. You say Wolverine, and there's a picture in your head. You say Cyclops, there's a picture in your head. Whether you like it or not, there was a picture that comes
Wouldn't
to your
it
head.
be funny if Jessica Alba showed up somewhere in Secret Wars, and the Fantastic Four from like Michael B. Jordan and freaking
That'd be
Miles
ridiculous.
Teller,
God, that movie was terrible.
and all those are all part. I mean, why not? You did it with Spider-Man. It was a good time.
Yeah, but
because Spider-Man
people
movies
like
were
those
so
movies. Yeah.
It was a good time.
It's interesting. We're in an interesting place again. Like it's just the last 4 times we've talked about Marvel, this is an interesting period of time because, there was the writer's strike, and then now with Jonathan Majors, and like even before that when they announced like, hey, we went too hard into Disney Plus. Like it's there's stuff happening, and honestly, like I do think that like a break from putting all these movies out is like a very good thing. And because like if you followed anything that's been happening with the Blade movie, it's been an absolute logistical nightmare, and I am impressed and salute Mahershala Ali for not being like, you know what, you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing, I'm the hell out of here, good luck, you know, because he's been dicked around with writers and directors and everything that's been happening. So um you know,
They're just gonna cancel it. Who
no,
knows?
they've got more people on it now, it's moving forward, so we'll see how
Make
it goes.
Mahershala
But
Kang.
look, man, look, he's available, he's not doing much else on the Marvel right now, you know. But yeah,
Honestly, that would be okay. You know, just like, hey, Blade kind of looks like Kang. It's like, no, his
no,
shades aren't as cool. You know, whatever.
yeah,
I think it'd be fine.
yeah,
Honestly.
it's gonna be interesting. Echo's coming out in like a couple weeks, so we'll be talking about that probably. Well, after we watch it, we'll decide if we want to talk about it. We'll give it a couple of shows. I'm excited for it. I know not everybody shares the sentiment in the world, but I think it looks pretty intense and cool. So, um, other than that, you know, if anybody watching, if you have theories of any actors we missed, actresses we missed, let us know. Anybody you want to see play the new Kang, if that's the direction that happens, or if you want to see them use a different bad guy. Do you want to see? In my opinion, I'd love to see like a story arc with Null. I don't know if everybody knows who that is, but he's like the king of the symbiotes, the god of the symbiotes from their planet, and it had a huge story arc, and it was awesome in the comics. So there's a bunch of crazy shit that can happen. Let us know in the comments. Hop over to Discord, the Modern Nerd. You can check it out there. There's a bunch of different places you can talk. Let us know your opinions on things in there as well. Otherwise, I got nothing else, gentlemen. Awesome. If you've had a great time, thank you for watching, and we've been the Modern Nerd.